All right, people, what's going on? Periscope, it's Midwest Swing, part of the Zone Coverage Podcast Network. I am in suburban Chicago, getting ready to cover Twins, Cubs over the next 2 days, then follow the team to Milwaukee, to Miller Park to cover 2 games there as well before coming home for 4th of July. So obviously the Twins losing today in Chicago, and so as I was driving, listening to the game, it was obviously a good start. Joe Mauer with the 3-run homer and a 2-run double, but kind of fell apart quickly. Barrios giving up a grand slam to Addison Russell and all that sort of thing. So, these are the kind of games the Twins need to be able to hold on to, and it just has not been the case. Not only recently, but really all season long. The offense gave them 6 runs, which is a lot of runs for how this offense has been performing lately. And the heat and all that, they gave it all back. And so big games from, again, Joe Mauer, 3 hits, 5 runs batted in. Eddie Rosario with a couple hits, including a double in the 9th inning. And then other than that, Mitch Garver had a couple hits, but it was pretty quiet the rest of the night, or afternoon, I guess. Long game too. The 5th inning especially, I feel like that took about an hour for them to play through it. But so basically, if you're new to the Periscope, what we do here is you can send in questions on Twitter at Brandon_Warren. If you send them in the Periscope app, the chances are I will not see them and will probably lose sight of them. I'll see them, but I will probably lose sight of them in the sense that I will not remember them because I'll be in the middle of a train of thought. So again, at Brandon_Warren. This is Midwest Swing. It's brought to you by Pick and Shovelware. If you're looking for Minnesota-based sportswear or just something to wear out on the town, Pick and Shovelware are your guys. You can find them, pickandshovelware.com. Keyword MWS for Midwest Swing will get you 15% off your order. Thank you so much for your support to Pick and Shovelware. Again, everything that they do, screen printed and designed right in Minneapolis. So it is a wonderful company to work with. They've been good for me, sponsorship-wise, with all the different podcast things that I've done here over the last year or so. So really appreciate Pick and Shovelware for everything they've done. Again, pickandshovelware.com, keyword MWS. Enter that at checkout, and you can get 15% off your order. All kinds of cool designs. They gave me a Jim Tomei Paul Bunyan shirt, but they were out at Twins Taproom Tour last Tuesday, and it was a really great event. And they're giving out t-shirts and that kind of stuff. Lots of great designs. Randy Moss. They had a Fear the Beard for Jeff Reardon. So check them out. Otherwise, send me questions on Twitter at Brandon_Warren. We can talk about the season on the whole. We can talk about today with the Twins and the Cubs. We can talk about the next 2 days or Milwaukee. Whatever you guys want. All-Star games coming up. Jorge Polanco's due back soon. We can talk about all kinds of different things. So whatever you guys come up with is absolutely fine with me. Otherwise, we can look back. The Twins really got to Mike Montgomery, I thought, fairly early in the game. The 3-run homer by Mauer in the 2nd inning, obviously a big blow, and only a 2nd home run of the year too, which is good to see. The double too, time to kind of see his offense turning around here after the concussion, because I think it has to be more concerning with Mauer dealing with the concussions after how bad the ones back in 2013 were. So batting average still only 264, 369 on base, 352 slugging. The biggest issue for me with Mauer has been that when he came back and he's leading off, I think that, how do I want to put this? The offense right now has been Eddie Rosario and Eduardo Escobar and nobody else. So they need someone to lead off. Dozier's really struggled badly. And so they're finally giving Joe Mauer the chance to actually do that. And, he just is coming back from the concussion and has really done he's really struggled coming back. And so it's been, a really rough run for him. And so, it's good to see him kind of settle in today, especially against a lefty, driving the ball out of the park. He has not had much success driving the baseball at all this season. So, really good job by him there. The biggest issue I think with this Twins offense, and I saw someone ask about the biggest issue with the Twins this year, and I think that it falls specifically on the offense, is that when you revolve around two players, and especially two guys who are streaky or swing at a lot of pitches, it is, I think that's what's going to make the offense a little bit less sustainable. And so when they've gotten good pitching, which has been, I would say, more often than not to start the season, or I guess we're getting up to the midpoint now, they haven't really been able to synchronize good pitching with good hitting. And the primary issue there is that there's been very little good hitting to speak of. So, they really, really desperately need Miguel Sano back. They need Byron Buxton back. They need Jorge Polanco back. He should be joining the team, I believe, on Monday in Milwaukee. So that should be obviously something to keep an eye on as well, because as much as Eduardo Escobar has done a great job at short, and then again at third too with Sano down, and even A-Ray Adrianza recently too, just more stability from potentially a top of the order bat in Polanco would be very helpful. So I do think that it's going to give the offense a bit more balance to get Polanco back. I did see that a couple of really nice defensive plays by Buxton today. Sano had a big game for Fort Myers. So I don't know. I guess the column that I'm probably going to write sometime this weekend is that this Twins team requires patience, but the problem is that there's really not that much time left for this patience to be had. So, obviously the patience, what I mean is not just to keep running out the same team over and over again, but getting guys back, getting guys into the swing of things. Obviously nobody, I don't think, thought that Logan Morrison would struggle like this, Brian Dozier would struggle like this. Some of the guys have been able to right their early season struggles, guys like Lance Lynn, Trevor Hildenberger, certain guys like that. But then there's been guys who started out hot and have really tailed off, such as Brian Dozier and I guess specifically him. Joe Mauer was off to, I think, a fairly good start too before he had to deal with the concussions. So it's been a really, really shallow or not deep offense, I guess you could call it shallow. And hopefully there'll be some more length as they start adding guys back into the mix. It'll be interesting to see too how they handle the bench, or how they handle the backup catcher role when things kind of come to a head here. Because with Polanco being activated on Monday, they do have two catchers on the bench right now. Astudillo has played some third base in the minors as well, but I really don't think they're going to let him play in the big leagues at third base unless it's an absolute pinch. He could catch Adalberto Mejia tomorrow. He's caught him at AAA this season, so you could see him get a start. I believe that'd be his first MLB game, and so it'd be kind of cool to see that happen. But will they keep Astudillo up and dump Bobby Wilson? Will they keep Astudillo up and send Mitch Garver out? I don't know. I know that one of those guys is going to have to go down when the time comes to activate Polanco. I kind of thought that would have been Taylor Motter. Now Motter's on the DL, the 7-day concussion DL. Now I think when Motter gets activated, they'll just option him to AAA. But I also thought Jake Cave might have been in that mix to be sent down too once Buxton comes back. And so now it's kind of all up in the air. I did see also too, to make room for Astudillo on the 40-man roster, they designated Felix Jorge for assignment. Nothing too surprising there. He's barely pitched this year because he's been dealing with, I believe, a shoulder issue. And he pitched in the big leagues a little bit last year. Didn't show a ton of skill or success. That's just small sample, first time through the big league stuff. Just like Aaron Slagers, who has been a little bit better this time around as he's gotten to come up as a long reliever and that sort of thing. But I don't know that Jorge's going to have a huge, robust market as a claim. So I think there's a fairly decent chance he'll clear waivers and hopefully at some point can get healthy enough to join the team, whether it's AA Chattanooga's rotation or AAA Rochester, once everything shakes out. Also saw Cole Stewart being brought up to AAA Rochester with Dietrich Enns going back to AA. Enns has put up numbers everywhere he's been prior to this year, but has gotten beaten up pretty good at AAA Rochester this season. As a result, cleared waivers and was taken off the 40-man roster earlier this season. And Stewart is having a really strange year. It was a couple ugly first 2 months for him to start the year, and then I think he had like a 1.44 ERA in June, but with a 1.40 WHIP, which doesn't make any sense, quite frankly. But it looks like he's getting strikeouts. It looks like he's getting grounders. It'll be interesting to see if he is going to. It's going to be interesting to see if he continues to start, or if they're going to put him in the bullpen, try to get him successful in limiting base runners. Again, that's what WHIP basically measures. If they can get him limiting base runners, maybe move him back to the rotation eventually, I don't think all is lost for Stewart, considering he's only 23 years old. He's going to be 23 for the entire season, so it's not like he's going on 24 and we're understating his age or anything like that. But I do think that Stewart can still help this team in the big leagues. I don't know to what extent Falvey and Levine are going to value him because he wasn't one of their draft picks. You kind of see that with Felix Jorge and some of the other guys they've taken off the 40-man roster here in recent weeks and even since last season. But it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out. Stewart, I'm guessing will start for Rochester, but I haven't heard anything yet. I could push some buttons and see if I can get a reply on that. But yeah. Anyway, again, feel free to send questions to @Brandon_Warren on Twitter. I'll upload this for Midwest Swing Podcast, so it'll be like a simulcast. You can find it on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Libsyn. We'll just put up, have some fun with it. I am in the process of thinking of some giveaways. I have a couple Prince Fielder starting lineup figures that I'm going to try give away, whether it's for maybe the best question during a Periscope, maybe it'll be something along those lines, but I don't know. Give us 5 stars on iTunes if you can. It just helps us, find our way up the charts, and trying to make this into something that's a little bit more than just a hobby, which would be kind of cool. But anyway, I did see a question about Ryan Larnick's progress and where he'll go in the minors as he gets acclimated to professional ball. I suspect, we'll hear maybe sometime this weekend that he's signed with the Twins and will be assigned to, I would guess, Elizabethton for a little while, but I don't know for how long. We could probably look at Brent Rooker's path for fairly good progress report. I think Rooker is maybe not as high of a ceiling player just because of the lack of defensive value. But if you put him on a similar track, I think that gets him to Cedar Rapids by the end of this year, and maybe to Double-A at some point next year, and hopefully a very quick timeline. He's obviously got power in that bat, especially to the opposite field, which from a lefty at target field, I'm not sure how that's going to play, but they obviously thought highly enough of him from an analytics standpoint and from a just overall statistical standpoint. In addition to the stuff that they did, as far as background work on his work ethic and the sort of things that make him a great teammate and a great player. So I suspect Larnick will move quickly. I don't know that he'll get higher than Cedar Rapids this year, but I think that's still fairly aggressive. And so whatever you see Rooker doing, I think he'll do it just a little bit more quickly, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Certainly possible that they do that with Jeffers too, their second-round pick, who was a catcher at UNC Wilmington. A lot of his value is going to be tied up on if he can stay behind the plate, which at this point they say is likely. I've seen a lot of prospect places say they're not as sure. Obviously, the team is going to pick him in the second round if they think that that's the case. So, I don't know. It's kind of a roundabout answer to that question. But again, feel free to send in questions at Brandon_Warren on Twitter. You can send them here in the chat room too. If I see them, I'll make sure to answer them as best I can. This is gonna be my first time to Chicago. Never been here before. Holed up at a Marriott in the northwest suburbs, so about half hour from Wrigley Field. If anybody has got a Wrigley Field recommendation, feel free to hit me with them. I'm gonna try to get there early enough that I can check out some stuff from a fan standpoint after we do our pregame availability and that sort of thing. So I'm gonna try to check out some of the stands and the concourse and all that stuff. With my first road trip to Kansas City, I didn't really have time to do that, so I just checked out the fan store and that sort of thing. I'll look for that kind of thing here at Wrigley as well, but I do want to kind of check out the neighborhood and that sort of thing. So again, if you have Wrigley Field recommendations, please hit me with those, or Miller Park. I'll probably do another one of these before I head to Miller Park, or once I get to the hotel in Milwaukee, so that we can, kind of touch base there, see how the last 2 games of this series go. If it stays true to form for how the Twins have played against teams that have been better than them in the standings, that probably means the Twins will win these next 2 games, which won't make any sense, but they seem to play to the level of the competition that they've played. They can't beat the White Sox, can't beat the Tigers, can't beat the Royals, but they can beat the Red Sox, they can beat the Indians. Now maybe the Cubs, and then they hit the road to Milwaukee, who's going to be a tough test as well. Lots of power, lots of especially bullpen arms that are needing to be respected as well. Josh Hader and Jeremy Jeffress and Jacob Barnes. Lots of guys who in the back end of that bullpen are very solid. So I have not seen pitching matchups yet. Obviously, a lot of that will shake out here in the next few days based on, first of all, how Mejia pitches tomorrow, which should be a good matchup. I think I saw that the Cubs are one of the best teams against righties in terms of on-base percentage, and I'm sure the analytics guys were all over that as far as who to bring up, whether it would be him or Slaggers, because they both kind of lined up for the start. So, yeah, Mejia's been really, really good over the last month or so at Rochester, something like a 1 point whatever ERA for the last 6 starts, and so he got off to a little bit of a shaky start, but has really turned it around. And when I look at Mejia, I don't see a guy who has a lot to prove at AAA, both from a statistical standpoint, but also physically. Like, there's not that much projection left in him. He kind of is who he is physically. He's a big, broad-shouldered guy. We all know about his girth and all that, but I think that if it works for him, it works. So, I just think that he's got a lot to gain, because they're going to cycle guys through this number 5 spot with the audition, with the potential of it being an audition to hang around for a while, at least until Irvin Santana is ready to come back and help this team, which I'm guessing is probably right out of the chute at the All-Star break, which is, 17, 18 days away, something like that. So, not much going on in the chat room, guys. Please feel free to send me questions at Brandon_Warren on Twitter. I know it's a Friday night. This is how I spend my Friday night. So that's my confession. I'm kind of a dork that way. So I know you guys are probably all out having fun, whereas I'm holed up in a hotel reading Twitter and drinking Spotted Cow because I drove through Wisconsin today. So can't complain about that, which is kind of good. So I guess for my one question, and if anybody's on here, can let me know where to eat around Wrigley Field tomorrow, which would be great. Nick Ladwick wants to know, what's the deal with Sano sent down to Fort Myers for something specific or just to get swing back? First of all, Nick, congratulations on getting married. I know you got married just last week or the week before, so that's very exciting. With Sano, I think it was just a rebuilding him from the ground up, both physically, mentally, and then the swing too. I think especially the swing, because of how badly he was missing breaking balls. He's pulling off, wasn't tracking them into where they were ending up, and so he was having trouble reading the difference between a fastball and a slider, and his swings kind of indicated that. And when a pitcher sees that, I mean, that's not high end. Video study for pitchers or people like Jeremy Hefner, video scouts or anything like that. That's something a pitcher sees on the mound and a catcher sees on the mound, and then they feast on that. And so, I think that they're going to rebuild Sano from the ground up, and hopefully, find a way to get him back to the big leagues, and maybe out of the All-Star break. The big thing for him at Fort Myers is they were already in their All-Star break. So when he went down there, he got a couple days off, and then he's going to work straight through. It's not going to be their All-Star break. Well, the big leagues are in the All-Star break, so he can work, straight through. There's not going to be a gap from when he starts working to whenever they decide to bring him back. And so I do think it'll be right around the All-Star break for that. And then at that point, they can kind of sort out what they're going to do with their infield, if they're going to be a 3-man bench, a 4-man bench, what they're going to do with the bullpen if Matt Belisle's still around, which seems inexplicable to me that he's hung around this long. Again, not that I'm saying I would cut him, but it just has not been very good, and I just don't know how long they want to keep going with him, playing as poorly as he has. So yeah, I think Sano. I think he'll be back in July sometime, but I'm just, I'm not going to bet the farm on that or anything like that. Another question I saw: do I think Alex Kirilloff will make it to Chattanooga this year? No, I do not. I didn't think he was going to make it to Fort Myers this year, quite frankly, and the fact that he did speaks to his advanced nature at the plate. This is a guy who missed an entire year for Tommy John surgery. As a hitter, I mean, it's not quite as catastrophic as it is for a pitcher, of course. But to miss a whole year and to still go up a level and be promoted, I mean, that speaks to how advanced Alex Kirilloff is as a hitter. I also think, too, that, when he was in high school, he studied baseball. It's Jesus, his wife, and baseball for him, and that's it. His dad had a hitting academy around Pittsburgh, and, he's just a hitter, and he's going to mash. I've heard some people say that they think he's the better hitting prospect that came out of Cedar Rapids this year. I think that's a position player prospect. He may be a better hitter than Royce Lewis. Royce Lewis, as an up-the-middle talent, is going to get a little bit more love that way. But if he's the better hitter between him and Royce Lewis, that's truly impressive. I saw the updated Baseball America prospects list came out today. I'm going to be going off the top of my head here. I know that Royce Lewis was somewhere around 12th. Kirilloff was... I have to pull up my tweets here. I know that Brusdar Graterol was 88th, and Nick Gordon was 96th. But let's see here. There we go. Royce Lewis was 12th. Alex Kirilloff was 38th. Brusdar Graterol 88th, and Nick Gordon 96th. So, not bad to have 4 guys in the top 100 for Baseball America. Nick Ladwig says he went up 50 spots from where he was before. Yeah, that's pretty telling to how great he's been this season as far as his progression as a player. I mean, I think we all knew he was talented. I just think that it just was going to be, we thought it was going to be a slower burn just because of how much time he missed last year. And so, fortunately, that hasn't been the case. I know MLB just re-released the top 100 for their midseason update. The Twins had 6 prospects in their top 100. I believe the other 2 were Gonsalves and I don't remember who the other one was that was not in the Baseball America one. So having a little bit of a blank out moment here, but yeah. So obviously the farm system's still fairly well regarded even after graduations of the guys like Buxton and Kepler and so on and so forth, Sano and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a pretty good farm system. Wander Javier, yes, thanks Grant. I thought it was Wander Javier, but I kept thinking that seemed too easy. I know he's out for the year with an injury, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Anybody got anything else before we wrap it? I'm gonna pull the audio, make a podcast out of this. Again, thanks for hanging out. Long drive today. It was from about 1 o'clock to about 8:30 in the car with a few stops on the way to Chicago here. But first, Wrigley Field experience tomorrow. Pretty excited about that. Nick wants to know if the Twins will be buyers or sellers at the deadline. I say neither. No, I take it back. If they're going to be anything, it's going to be sellers. If they're buyers, if they're not sellers, it's because they've gotten their players back and are, they're playing up to their talent level with everyone healthy. If they're sellers, it's because they're 12 games out at, July 28th, 29th, 30th, whenever they start parting it out. And that's when you see guys like Lance Lynn, Logan Morrison, if anybody's interested. Morrison might be more of a waiver deadline kind of guy. Zach Duke could be on the move, that sort of thing. So I don't think they're going to buy. I don't necessarily think they're going to sell. I think standing pat with the talent they have is probably going to be the way to go, because I think they have the bullpen talent in the organization to be good. I think that they have I think they have the starting depth, especially with Michael Pineda coming back at some point as well. Trevor May in the mix. I just don't see a lot of need to add. If they do add, it'll be a catcher. And I've said multiple times, if they add a catcher, it'll be Jonathan Lucroy or Wilson Ramos. I don't know. I think my dream scenario, and again, that's not me saying that it's something I am really wishing for, but I think the best case deal would be for them to get Chris Archer and Wilson Ramos in a trade, a big type of trade, but it's not going to happen. I'm just saying, people have asked me what the perfect world scenario would be for the Twins, and it would be getting Chris Archer and Wilson Ramos, but that's not going to happen. But yeah, so if they do go get a catcher, I think that those are probably the two most likely names. It's hard to know if that's going to be the case, because they're going to have to win a lot of ball games between now and July 31st if they're going to be going out and getting a catcher, especially one who's going to cost them some decent prospects. So yeah, I think there's a lot of baseball between now and July 31st, and if it remains as ugly as it's been for the first 3 months of the season, hard to believe we're already on the third month of the season. If it remains as ugly as it has been for the first 3 months over this next 5 weeks, it's not going to be a pretty end of the season, and people will start thinking about training camp, the Viking season, and that sort of thing. So I hope that's not the case, because I want the interest in the Twins from a selfish standpoint, so you guys actually want to see these videos and the stuff I write. But if not, I can't change anything. So again, hey, thanks for hanging out. I will hit you guys up from Milwaukee in a couple days. We'll see what happens over the next 2 days in Chicago. Get those questions in. I think from the Milwaukee one, we'll do the Prince Fielder starting lineup giveaway. So again, check out pickandshovelware.com. Keyword MWS for 15% off your order. Get all kinds of cool Minnesota Twins, Vikings, Wild, all that fun stuff. Shirts and designs. And yeah, all right, be good. Peace.